welcome. It's very, very early in the morning, so thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about the Simone Rocha collection. It's our first broadcast of the day and our last day of London Fashion Week, which is really sad because it's been an amazing season. But I have a great set of panellists to animatedly talk about the collection who will introduce themselves, starting with Kathryn.
My name's Kathryn Ferguson and I'm a filmmaker and a curator, and I also work as a lecturer.
I'm Rob Phillips and I'm the Creative Director of the London College of Fashion for the School of Design and Technology.
I'm Bella Freud, I'm a fashion designer and a filmmaker.
Bella, I know you just said that you've been on Half 10, so you haven't had the chance to see too much, but have you guys been keeping an eye on the shows? What's kind of struck your fancy? I don't want to put you on the spot. What have you loved?
I loved Christopher Kane.
Yeah?
I thought that was great. I actually, for me, it was a slight return to form for him. It had that sort of, it was reminiscent of his MA collection, all the decoration. It was kind of sort of hyper sexy. I loved that. I thought that was really, really good. I loved Antonio Berardi as well. I thought there were pieces in that were absolutely beautiful, really, really wearable. There's been really great stuff.
Yeah, it's been a good season, I think. Have you agreed with that, Kathryn? Have you seen things you've enjoyed?
I have seen bits and bobs. I've been working on the film aspect for the last, for most of Fashion Week, so I haven't seen a huge amount of the shows, I'll admit, but I really enjoyed the Louise Gray and J.W. Anderson yesterday. I thought they were fantastic. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned Louise and Jonathan, because that's actually kind of the angle of the discussion I wanted to take with Simone, is sort of this new generation of designers that we're seeing who come along that do focus on kind of, you know, separates and stuff that's a lot more akin to how women dress, you know, layering and that kind of thing. And we see that a lot with Simone, the way she'll do a lot of knits, and she will do her dresses, but there's a lot of jackets and shirting and that kind of thing. And I'm interested in sort of what you guys think about the direction that we've seen womenswear move in. It is kind of this idea of collections being all about the cocktail dress. Is that completely dead, do you think?
It's not. It's never going to die. Somebody always wants a cocktail dress. We always want a cocktail. So I think there's sort of art to dressing up, isn't there? And an art of dress, which is never going to go away. But there's also designers design for different parts of our lives now, and they understand that life isn't luxury. Design isn't just about luxury scenarios. There is a certain reality to it, or different types of reality, and I think designers acknowledge that quite a lot. There's a difference between having a cocktail in Dalston, isn't there, to having a cocktail in Mayfair. And maybe people dress accordingly, or depending on who they're akin to or who their groups are. But the idea of separate dressing it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, I think, because it's more accessible for us.
Would you agree with that, Bella? Because obviously you work with amazing knits, and people must style them in all different ways and wear them in a cocktail environment, but also wear them every day.
I think what's changed a lot is that the idea of smart dressing. People don't do so much smart, which is good, because smart is really kind of neutralising quite often. And so what's lovely, all these young designers doing what they like, really, and smart doesn't come into it so much. But you know, people will always want a good dress, and the context in which people wear it too has changed a lot. So I think, you know, when Luella did all those kind of punky ball dresses that people just would wear to the pub sometimes, and suddenly the whole, you know, it opened up when you might wear a thing like that. I like that, when the whole kind of landscape changes, and then young people find something that's quite formal, they'll wear it totally out of context, and it gives it a whole new lease of life.
Who are your sort of young stars that are working at the moment that you think are sort of capturing the mood of the times really well?
Well, I really like Simone Rocha. I love her work, and it's really kind of pleasing and fresh and you know, creative. I love J.W. Anderson. I really like his work. Sibling, they're my real...
Because they used to work with you.
Yeah, two of them, Cosette and Sid, used to work with me, and so I'm...
Must be amazing to see them do so well.
It's so great. I love that. And Giles Deacon, I know he's been around for longer than some, but I think he's a really talented, extremely talented craftsman as well as designer. He's really, you know, quite ingenious. I'm sure there's loads of others I can't think of.
Too many good ones. That's the problem with letters.
But a lot. So many good designers in Britain right now in particular.
I'd like to talk quite closely about Simone and why she is so sort of, she's having such a moment right now, because it seems like, you know, everyone is just such a fan. There's so much buzz around her shows and everyone's so excited by it, both on on a sort of aesthetic level and a styling level, but also women just love to wear it. You know, people have this thirst for it. What do you guys think she's done that's just captured the moment? What's so great about Simone? It's a hard
I think it is just so wearable. I mean, she really does design clothes that women want to wear and can wear, and
but they're also kind of inventive, so
Yeah.
they're clothes that you never knew you wanted, and then you see them and think, oh my God, that
How
is
could I
me,
live
I'm
without
going to come
Perspex
to
Hill
life.
Brogue?
You know, that's really something, and I love the way she uses lots of white, and you know, all the things she's done. She's really set that trend for broderie anglaise, even though, you know, many people have used broderie anglaise, but there's something so kind of, you know, almost like, oh God, of course, you know, why didn't I think of that? It's so charming. She has a lot of charm, and I think when you look at her work, you think, oh, maybe I could have some of that if I wear those clothes, and that's very, you know, that's very impressive to be able to conjure up that, I think, so kind of early on in the game.
And do you think it's quite refreshing to see someone where their focus is so much on, you know, texture and fabrication, rather than, I don't want to kind of revert back to being like, oh, everyone does print, because that is a huge generalisation, but it is, for me, that's what I find so great about her work, is it always feels like there's more to it. It's nothing. It's never about the surface. It's always, you know, the feel, and I think that's quite exciting. I don't know if you agree about the texture element.
There's a real depth of textiles to her work, isn't it? It's not so obvious, I don't think. Sometimes you can watch them and you see a lot of pattern, a lot of graphic pattern. When you look a lot closer, the amount of different fabrics that are involved are quite intricate it's really well juxtaposed together in this really beautiful, almost lo-fi sort of styling. She's a very, very clever girl.
And it's a different kind of luxury, isn't it? We were talking about this on some of our other panels, as what people define luxury as, and it seems that ever increasingly there's more of a focus on, you know, something being quite crafty and feeling very handmade, and that's seen as more of a luxury than something just being branded. I think that's quite interesting with her work.
It definitely has that edge, but her choices of silhouettes, I think, are really good as well. I mean, there's not many London designers, I think, who design silhouettes like she does in such a, it sounds really odd to say, it's a very sort of confident ease that she has to her work. You know, you can imagine wearing these pieces in so many different ways, and I think they're really beautiful. From all the collections I've seen since her Romain, 2010 I think was when she was graduating, and I thought that's when I first noticed her. I loved that. Almost, it's quite a downbeat, boyish, minimal appeal, and I thought it reminded me of when I used to watch Helmut Lang shows. There was something in the tension of the fabrics and how he would use print or colour or textiles that I see now, and I think that's why I find it so appealing.
Do you think part of her success is, I always ask this and I always get really different responses, but I'm super interested in it, so I continue to ask it anyway, which is, do you think there's something about the fact she is, you know, a young girl designing for other sort of cool women out there, because she is a really, really cool girl, you know, she's really down to earth, she gets out and about, she cycles everywhere, so she approaches clothing, I think, in a very different, luxury clothing in a very different context, a very different space to what other people do. And do you think part of her success is just through being a woman? I'll ask you that, Kathryn, because we just did our feminism thing together. So I'll rope you.
I just think she's just super interesting. I mean, I don't know, I think a lot of her work seems to come from her, from being from Ireland as well, and even her choice of fabrics, where she's kind of taken all of these sort of heritage and historical Irish influences and really modernised them. And I think she's taken a lot of that with her over here, and like living in London, I don't know, I just feel like how she approaches her work is a kind of combination of these worlds, you know, and
it's very personal in that sense.
Very personal, and if you look back through her archive and what she, you know, her influences, I mean, it does seem to be these two worlds combining, this modern world and this quite, you know, ancient Ireland, and I think that, well, for me, I find that very interesting.
Yeah, we're having a lot of success out of Ireland, you know, Jonathan as well.
Amazing, yeah, it's a really incredible time for Irish fashion, actually. It's been a while.
Would you like to see, because Simone's actually talked about this to me she's talked about this to me before. She said, you know, some people in Ireland have said, you know, why did you go and show in London? Why aren't you showing in Ireland?
Sure.
Would you like to see that? Would you like to see more of a
I think lots of fantastic people come out of Ireland in the fashion industry, but I think that that there could be a lot more focus on keeping them there and creating, I suppose. Well, I mean, the problem in Ireland is the economy right now. I think London has always been the place to really go to, expand in what you do and with your work. So it's a bit tricky, but I would love to see Ireland become more of a mecca for fashion. I think it'll be a while. Be a while, yes, until everything evens out a little bit.
What do you guys think about that, about seeing these kind of shows in different, like taking the focus out of this context of constantly being, Paris, New York, London? Would you like to see Milan, obviously, as well? Would you like to see the Copenhagen?
There's quite a lot of places. I mean, they do have shows in Ireland. I've shown in Ireland. And I remember going and to take part in something, and Philip Tracy was doing something. Course, and I'm going to do something in Romania next month. I mean, there's loads of there's all the centres of fashion, which is the 4 places, and then everyone else has all these like little other fashion scenes, and they develop and grow into maybe something. I think didn't you say in Copenhagen there's been a fashion week?
There's been really good stuff. Do you find that students are aspiring to that a bit more? Do you think they're starting to think outside of just being like, I'm going to work in London, I'm going to go to Paris? Do you think they start thinking about... Yeah. I
have a lot of my alum go on to launch their own labels in their own countries. And I think that's absolutely great, and they should be doing that. Fashion isn't just for major capitals, it's a convenient for major capitals and convenient for press and editorial on a very, very high commercial level, if you like. But fashion exists all over the globe in some absolutely wonderfully beautiful ways. If you go and see fashion in Mumbai, it's insanely different how it is in Sao Paulo. It speaks of culture and the identity of youth in that area. It's very telling. So the more you travel and the more you see this, the more, inspired you become. A lot of designers go away and bring that back and show in London or New York from their travels. But a lot of my students will now go home and start their brands, and rightfully so. They've got buyers there and people who want to buy into them and believe in what they're doing, and they bring something special back from the education system in London, and then almost sell back to their own country. It's great. It's really good, and there's opportunity there. And we know, like with the economy now, you go push for the opportunity where you can grow and develop with financial backing, and we know here that's very difficult.
Because actually I was in China working quite a lot in the autumn, and I met an awful lot of young Chinese designers that had studied in the London colleges, and all probably very rightfully made the decision to go back and set up their businesses there, and they're doing brilliant now. The same,
booming. If you go to South America, and fashion is really on the rise, and it's very different from how we consume fashion, from our Pradas to our Gucci's. There's names you'll never hear of, and but wonderful names. But I think that's a great. But not to down the 4 capitals, because they're wonderful as well. But it is bigger than we often look at it.
Yeah. And the world's getting smaller as well, I think. With the internet.
And there's more and more clothes and more and more clothes.
Yeah.
I'd like to, you say the world gets smaller, it's quite interesting, because I want to talk about, how fashion is presented and how fashion is viewed at the moment, because obviously I've got 2 fabulous filmmakers with me, so I can pick your brains on this, but about the catwalk show and whether that is still a viable thing to continue, or whether we should see, especially young brands, thinking more about how to present their aesthetic online or in a film or in an installation. And I think Simone's been quite interesting with that, because she always does kind of invite you into her world through, whether it's just the way she stages her catwalk collections. Well, she'll have that sort of setting at the back, and she just translated that to the window at Dover Street, and there is a sense of her presenting an aesthetic and in a slightly different way, but she still uses a catwalk show. Would you guys like to see people think like, no, that's actually really expensive, it's not viable for me, I'm going to do a film, or I'm going to do a...
Well, you should answer that.
Deflecting.
It depends on your aesthetic a bit. I mean, some people, their whole kind of existence is for the show, and the show is absolutely it and amazing. And then for other people, they can be a lot more expressive through different mediums. And I think what's good about now is that people are open to everything. So it's not like shows are redundant. I don't think shows will ever be redundant. And there's a certain theatre that's completely, incomparable. But only if that works for that particular designer. And then I love that people are embracing, you know, all these other forms, but it is quite difficult to keep the life about the clothes and the show when you translate it into film, and I think that's going to take a bit of getting over, and I think there could be more, I don't know, maybe that could be more part of a career. I mean, I never went to fashion school, but hopefully there's all these exciting things you learn. That could be one of them, because it's not just about the clothes on film, it's about a story. And when you're doing a show, somehow or other that story takes over. The clothes are the story, but it doesn't automatically translate. So, you know, I think as much kind of talking and experimenting about that would be helpful and good.
We do a lot of that now. I tend to find I spend a lot of my time speaking about how to represent yourself beyond, because obviously a lot of students, they're not going to go on a catwalk, but they need to get themselves out there. So using all forms of digital media, we make a lot of films now. I see more and more films coming from my Womenswear students a lot. We create films now as part of our annual way of promoting the courses in the colleges, and they're incredibly well received because they're so accessible in terms of how people can link to them and feature them and embed them, and students are getting more and more savvy to this, that I can't do a show, I can't afford a show, I'm not even a known name yet, but I can most certainly create something such as a film or animation, all sorts of, as a way of pushing their aesthetic on, you know, out there, communicating to people. It's brilliant, it's really brilliant, and it involves a whole different imagination now, and a degree of originality and innovation, because you've really, designers, well, new designers now have to start thinking, well, how do I communicate? I can't do the catwalk, I haven't got that sort of cash, which pushes their ingenuity in using the digital medias to whatever platforms they might be, and thus they have to create content for that. So they have to think of the story, how do I get across that my clothes are fluid or they're architectural or whatever their aesthetic might be, and you're in a whole new brilliant world. It's great.
I'm really interested because I think it's amazing. Obviously, fashion film is really dear to us here, but I was interested with something you said, Bella, because you talked about, you know, it is hard to get the kind of the spirit of clothing into the film, and that does take a bit more work. And I'm interested how you approach that, Kathryn, in your work, how you make sure that, you know, like the energy that you see at a show and the movement of the clothes really does shine through in a film.
Sure. It's a funny thing with film, because I do agree. I mean, it is a tricky thing to try and get that 15 minutes.
I'm going to get clothes. No, keep going. But we're going to get the clothes.
Are they going to come in?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Maybe I should shush and we can so we can go back to that.
Okay.
My goodness. So is this in the Tate Times?
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing space. Everyone who's come here has raved about it, but it is just incredible. It's in the Tate.
They're amazing.
The tanks.
It's a lovely space, just to the right of the turbine hall.
Interesting to see how I do that kind of a colour to open so much, because I think you mentioned minimal, and I've spoken to her about this and she's like, no, I'm not a minimalist, but you know, we do expect that kind of really neutral palette from her.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Beautiful roses.
That's such a nice name for a colour as well, rose.
It's great, isn't it?
And again, that feels kind of dainty and whimsical in this Irish way that she does. You know, she talks about how...
Almost look at the bustle fold cut on the back of that sort of mini skirt. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, talk to me about her shapes, because you mentioned that you're really interested in her silhouettes that she's doing. What is it that you think is so great about?
It's funny, isn't it? Because you could look at them immediately and just the rose coat you just saw, and you could go, that's quite stark. And then when you actually see how sort of quite spongy, and it looks like you really want to touch it, and it moves beautifully. And it breaks down that whole austereness that you get with minimalism and something looking quite stark. And I think that's why it kind of fascinates me, because at first glance you could easily go, couldn't you, well, it's minimal. Yeah. But when you look at all the work that's gone into this, it's almost like anti.
And the shoes really set it off.
The shoes are amazing.
I was watching last.
They're really comfy. I actually have a pair and they're so comfy, but they are incredibly heavy. That's the only, because they're the ones with the big pear splits.
Can she do boys' pairs, please?
Put in a request.
No, I did. I
do it formally now.
I tweeted it last season.
They're just fabulous, though.
It's got a bag there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see her kind of move into these accessories a bit more, because those shoes obviously just tick off, and her bags are really great. I love what she did last season.
The perspex, yeah, clear ones, yeah, they're great.
She's obviously really loving this sort of giant fold, 2 sort of big box pleats. I'm quite surprised I've not seen a shirt yet.
No, actually, no.
I really associate her quite heavily with white shirt, redefining white shirt.
But then maybe she's moved on. You know, she did that, and I think you're right. She did redefine it, and we saw her influence.
And
like,
a lot of people have
everywhere.
copied it too.
Yeah.
I mean, like quite shockingly, actually. Oh, that's really nice. I mean, talk about a dress, a patent leather ball dress, not bad. That's lovely, isn't it?
That's beautiful.
That is so lovely.
And back to the headwear references as well, just constantly playing with it. It's almost like a signature for her styling.
Yeah, her little crown type. Got a shirt there, have we? Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It's so
There's always
polished,
a really rural
isn't it?
element.
But so sort of slight, you know, really modern looking.
And it's interesting that she's kind of taken off in a sense, and in a red carpet way. Like we've seen her stuff on a lot of the really sort of cool young girls who wear a lot of great fashion. So I think she's not one of my favourites, but Alexa Chung wore her stuff to the British Fashion Awards, and there is that element where you're like, God, you mentioned Alexa Chung.
I just love the way you began that with.
Disclaimer before.
Not one of my favourites,
I
but
love Alexa Chung, she's amazing.
this is really interesting. What print was that? Was that animal?
I didn't see it.
Or
It
was
was like, looked like a flocked wallpaper. It was really... Or maybe that was a sort of Chinese-ish or brocade or something.
I don't know if she works with a stylist or if she does it herself, but I think it's great.
She does work.
It's really great. Really beautiful.
I'm interested in that shape she's done, you know, with that pleat at the side, because that is very new for her, and it's really, really successful, I think.
It's like a sort of punked-up version of a 40s thing, isn't it? It's really just great.
That's great, that detail across the bust. That reminds me when Christopher Kane
Was it print
did that.
or embroidered? It looked like it was 3D, so maybe it's embroidered.
Yeah.
Is that animal print?
That's what I was thinking.
It's like a brocade.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
And the
that,
giant pleats again on the back of it, almost creating like a bustle to an A-line skirt in a really new way.
That is an animal print, that's a lettered. There's always a thrifty element to it, which I really like. I think she does that so successfully.
I love this wet look thing. She's got going.
Was that almost came across as almost like a tortoiseshell print then?
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's a stylist's dream in some sense, because there's some really great stuff to shoot in there, but it's also a buyer's dream. You know, you can
Look at
so
that.
much of that.
It's just totally adorable, isn't it?
That's so beautiful. I want to get married in that. Oh my
Just
god.
Is that on the card?
No.
Should we be looking out for this today?
No.
Find a husband.
Not
to fit
even
that
slightly.
dress. I like the way the music,
really
and she's got the confidence to have some suspense with the music, which is she's very assured.
She's very abstract with the way that she uses detail and fabric, isn't it? It's not expected, I don't think, which is great.
No, not at all. And I like that there's such a strong continuation with her stuff. You know, I find it actually so refreshing that she can do all the, like, lots of the pieces in here are really new for her, but that she keeps these ideas that work well for her going, and she really explores them and changes them, and I just think that's so refreshing. That's such a hard thing to do.
She's really trying to, I think for me, she's been trying to inject a lot more feminine, almost girly elements to her work over the past few seasons. I mean, Collection 1 in 2010 is you know, it was sort of hyper masculine in a strangely deconstructed way, and now we're starting to see her play a lot more with identifiably traditional feminine touches, which I think is quite nice. But there's still that great, almost, I think there's a grunge edge to what she does. The real ease is what makes it so accessible, that makes people want to buy it.
But she was almost ahead of the curve with that kind of new androgyny thing that she did, and I think it's great that she's moved on.
It well.
Yeah. I think it's interesting
genuine with her. think when
That's how she dresses.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And I think that's quite important and quite telling.
That's gorgeous. That's really 90s actually. It's quite different.
Trousers are amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I like that she's got this sort of, you know, avant-gardeness that comes from such a classical background of her dad's work, which is much more classical. And then she's just this little, you know.
Well, there's always that romance to it, because you imagine her like running around Ireland having this amazing life and bringing that all to London. Yeah, it's so great.
I mean, no one could not be delighted by that. That is totally.
I saw her a couple of weeks ago and she was saying she was so excited about this collection and she was really proud of it, and you can see why it is absolutely amazing. I want to see them all come out.
Was this the music that she's chosen for
I
the
think
show?
so, but I'm not sure.
I'm quite surprised because I'm so used to like Stone Roses and
Yeah.
PJ Harvey and that's another clever use of the music she's been choosing for the other shows. Really know how to tug at heartstrings. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but she's very down to earth and stuff like that. You know, she's not going to do some crazy high conceptual music that no one likes. She'll give you something you want. And that's like what she does with her clothes. It's all about.
It taps into the certain customer who it completes the picture, doesn't it? The person who loves the song. What do I wear for this? And then suddenly you think, oh, this is what I want to wear for it.
She is one of the only designers, I know this brings it back to shopping and it's very simplistic to look at clothes in this way, but she's the only designer where I look at their catwalk and literally everything she does I just want to wear.
I know.
But it's so good at the same time, you know, it's amazing. It's like a Battenberg cake.
It
that's
looks
adorable.
lovely together.
It is, isn't it? Take a slice.
And the footwear's quite different this season as well. It's nice to see her move that on.
There's a little bit of signature in there, isn't there? Was there any perspex actually, since it seemed to be what everyone
I think
was
there were
talking
on the
about
heel.
pre-show?
So.
Love that skirt.
It's great.
Wonder where she gets it made, do you know?
I don't know.
Do you manufacture in Ireland? Or?
I thought she did.
Yeah, I think she does a lot of her stuff here. I love the glasses. It's like granny chic, which is an awful phrase to use, but it is, but in a really, really great way.
This is beyond granny. It's like, for me, it's a young lady who studies biology.
Can we give her a clap? Because she's so cute.
Yeah,
And I love her.
gorgeous. Well done, Simone.
So everyone seemed to love it. How do we think she's moved her aesthetic forward? What's that saying for this season compared to what she's been doing before?
She's moving on what she's done before, isn't she? It's maybe a little bit less decorative, I think, than obviously the last season. She's muting her colour palette a little bit down. This almost felt like romantic, I think. I thought almost slightly studious, and it's like you said about the glasses. I didn't see granny. I saw chemistry or biology students. But I don't know. It's something. It's cleverer than that. A beautiful, poetic, great.
Yeah,
poetic
was a good description. I thought it was like really Paris meets sort of, you know, daughter of a punk rocker.
I love it.
It had a real chic to it, and that she had the confidence to do such elegant things, and she wasn't scared that she would, you know, lose something by not adding something. It was just really superb, I think. Very, and also you could see so many other ideas in there. It wasn't just, oh, you know, there's that thing repeated. When she did repeat something, it was very, you know, like, this is a different expression of it, and you thought, I could have both of those.
So often you get the three of the same, don't you, in a couple of.
And also, I liked the way she
designer.
did do three things in the same colour and the same fabric, which is also quite. I mean, it's very confident, because, you know, that's a bit out of fashion to do that now. Nobody does, you know, repetitions. But I like the way she did that, because she obviously believed in that, and she wanted to kind of take you on a journey, like you were saying about the poetry of it, using the same words almost, as it were, in her you know, design, in her clothes.
It's interesting you talk about that repetition, because we mentioned that yesterday when we were looking at the Jonathan Anderson show, because he does do a similar thing. You know, he'll send out exactly the same look in 3 different colours, and I think there's such a confidence to this kind of really young set of designers that have just kind of come onto the scene but are doing so well. And I think everything that you both sort of mentioned there, you know, the repetition, the fact that there are a lot of ideas there, but very well edited, you know, there's just such a confidence to what she does, and you get the sense that, you know, she's proud of her work, and that really comes through. And I think I'm interested in sort of how you think she'll take things forward, and do you think she'll just kind of keep developing the same way? Would you like to see her do a collaboration? What would you like to see from her?
Well, I'm going to be really selfish. I'd want to see her do a menswear collection. If we could bring a little
That's
bit
all
of this.
you want. You're like Simone.
You know, and just to break me from my Dries addiction, let's move to a Simone addiction. You know, why not? Yeah,
you could wear some of that.
All of the above. Well, I think everything you just said would be great. I just think she's still young. She still needs a lot of support, and for people to have a vested interest in and promote her. It's really important that people get behind her.
And it's great that she does have so much support, which means that she can have the confidence to keep developing her identity.
Absolutely.
And then if she does get, you know, or asked to go into some house or whatever, you know, she'll have had that backup to know that to stick with her idea was, you know, timing is so important. I mean, designers can come along and people don't get them, and so it shakes them, you know, and they're not necessarily so, you know, focused. And I think it's great that you know, everyone loves what she's done, and, you know, people are right behind her, and that must be very, you know, helpful to her to build. I mean, she could do anything really. You could see her world is, you know, there's so many ideas in there, and but it's so specific and so definite and so appealing.
It makes you, just what you said about maybe a brand or someone picking her. You could see that, couldn't you, with her? And I'd find it hard to say that about many of the other London designers.
It's true.
But with her, I think
you can see, like,
in maybe 5 years' time,
whatever.
you could see. You could see other brands, watching her quite closely, and because I mean, very different aesthetic. But I mean, if you look at Geskia's career, you know, the repetition. I'm making a statement through 3, and those might be different tweaks and different colours, different textures, but it's still playing with the same communication. This is completely aesthetically different, but there's something. It's incredibly confident, and I can imagine in a few years' time, people. Well, I would hope. Because it would be a great export for us, wouldn't it? She keeps her label here.
No,
I can see her doing it.
I'm really interested because Bella, you said a couple of times, you know, she's explores lots of different ideas, and she's not afraid to put out various sort of ideas in one collection. I think you've really hit the nail on the head with what her appeal is, because I think that's why it feels so exciting, because it makes you excited for the next season, because she will put out these ideas and explore them a little bit, and they do feel sort of fully realised within the collection, but then she always gives that little something else where you're like, God, I'd love to see where she takes that next season. You know, I think that's so exciting about sort of what she does.
It's quite tantalising, the whole thing, isn't it? Whereas, you know, you've got so much already, but you're curious about everything she does, because she kind of has a gold dust that she sprinkles. She makes things come to life with her kind of take on it, which is, you know,
very clear visual communication, though, isn't it? There's nothing that deters you from looking at the total look. It's not like looking at Louise Gray or Mead & Kirchhoff, where it often needs a little bit of unpacking. This it's instant. It's a beautiful language to speak, and so softly. I think
it's very modest.
You can believe in that work.
How would you translate that to a film? Are you coming up with concepts as we speak?
I'd love to work with her. I mean, and I think, again, a lot of her early work went back to Irish heritage and things, so it would be great.
She did the Pony Kids and things like that.
She did, and I think she's looking at West Coast mourning rituals for her very first graduate collection, Irish mourning rituals, and I think she's fascinating. I just think her work just keeps maturing each time and becoming more and more focused, and I mean, she's really. Is it
easier to work with a designer where they have such a clear vision? Because you were talking about that, Rob. You know, her vision's easy to understand, and it's accessible in a way which doesn't make it seem any less intelligent.
But probably not easy to have done. No, that's the cleverness.
Yeah, exactly. Is that do you enjoy working with a brand, where they have such a clear and exciting vision, or is it sometimes easier when it's a bit more fluid and you can kind of
It just depends really on the commission and who you're working with, but it can be equally as exciting to work with an up and coming new designer who's just really up for this organic process of making a piece of work together, from their early sketches and your early storyboards, and actually organically collaborating, that can be great. And then working with a big brand. I recently worked with Chloe, and they were incredibly open as well, which was fantastic for a brand to be so open as well. I think it just depends, doesn't it, on the commission and the purpose, if it is a film, and I think context and what it's for, I think often determines how creative you can be.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what else are you guys excited for the rest of fashion season? I won't just say London because I know we're closing off. What are going to be your stars other than Simone?
I'm always interested in Celine and what Phoebe's going to come up with, because it's a bit like, Simone. I mean, she's like, you just are fascinated by what she will kind of hold back with, what she'll give, where the joke will be, where the seriousness will be. It's so intriguing, and
it's quite similar to Simone in that sense, actually. What's there and what's pulled back, and there is always that little wit to it.
Yeah, I suppose it's just a much bigger, more kind of intellectual kind of, approach. I mean, I love it.
Did you love the fur shoes? What did you think of those?
Oh, I love them so much. I'm completely...
You're going to get a pair?
I hope so.
Rob can get his Simone Rocha breaks and you get fur shoes.
Yeah, with pink fur. Oh my God. I went to that show actually.
Did you?
Yeah. And it was just so beautiful. It was amazing. I don't know what that would have looked like on a film, but it was so subtle and so unlike anything else, and all this kind of almost like irreverence and casualness in the way like there was loads of satin, and then all this clever draping and these kind of almost Japanese stuff going on in the back, and then these shoes which are just like, okay, so you think you know me, but think again. I love that. It was just so good.
Who can be your stars, Rob? Who are you excited about?
Do you know about stars? I don't really look at fashion in that way, but I'm really interested, obviously, about Balenciaga. It's hard. You cannot not be interested in that. I think I can't wait. And the usual, I always look out for Prada. It's what's going on there, because there's always a shock there.
Always turns the season on its
head. Like you were saying about Celine, there's something where you look at it and go, this requires a little bit of thought. There's so much of it, isn't there? It's so hard. Each capital has something which fascinates me, and Paris obviously seems to go on forever almost. And Jill Sander, I'm really loving the fact that she's come home. And I love the collections that she's done, men and women. I've enjoyed, so I'm really interested to see how that keeps going, because it is a bit of a drama, that one. I love it, the fashion dynasty of Jill Sander. It's brilliant, but lots of great stuff.
And what's going to be the takeaway from London? Do you think, has this been a great season? Do you think, because we had a great panel last night where it was all anyone could say was like, isn't this amazing for London? It's so brilliant, it's never been better than right now. Would you guys agree with that?
I'd say I wouldn't forget, I love all the new labels, and of course our established designers, and I have to admit, I don't think our established designers get enough recognition, because there's some genius ones, even like I mentioned Berardi. We don't tend to speak of him anymore, but he's brilliant. But I think for me it was really interesting with the 2 MAs this week, with LCF MA launching for the first time during a London Fashion Week, and of course CSM's MA, which was a powerhouse of ideas. It's these 2 great colleges, 2 very different languages, and I thought that was my big takeaway for London, is how that will develop it onwards. And of course I love education, so my eyes are firmly set on the next. That's why
people look to London though, because there is such a sort of, it is a centre for education, and people, that runs through even beyond that day with those 2 shows, because everyone looks at them and they're all alumni of those amazing colleges, and I think that's so exciting about London.
Absolutely, and that's why I think, a lot of London Fashion Week, a lot of international fashion of these guys, girls have all come from these colleges. It's where London is a huge support to the industry, and that's why I'm watching the students who will graduate from there, and I hope people get behind them just as they've got behind Simone Rocha, because they offer so much to the world, and they, I think, you know, give back. So it's great.
How did LCF decide to have the show then? What happened?
I just think it's they realise that they've established this MA after a number of years, and they've grown quite confident in their MA and what their MA is about. So LCF is as much. It's going to sound like, well, obviously I work there, so I'm going to say this, but it's a very considered, a very thought-based university. Of course, because they could have at any given one time, they could have said, right, let's just do a show at London Fashion Week. But it had to feel right. It had to feel that they had something new to offer. Fashion is a saturated market of new designers. So what was their statement? What are they about? And if you see it, it's technical, it's quality. There's a lot of manufacture that goes into it. It's a very different way of thinking from St Martin's. So I think that when they felt that the time was right, this was the time for them to come forward. I mean, I don't work with that school, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's great, good times.
Have you got any?
Oh God, I hate it when the questions
pick?
turn on me.
Who's your big crush?
I'm really excited to see Prada. That's a huge fashion cliche, but I always love that. And I'm excited to see what Emmett Benone's done at Trussardi. Again, I'm obsessed with Emmett Benone. Emmett Benone, he does Trussardi, and I love his menswear. Right. And his women's wear, I think he's kind of not quite got his groove yet, and I always actually find that quite exciting because you don't know what's going to happen next. What else am I really looking forward to? I think Balenciaga is going to be great just because I can't wait to see how everyone in fashion kind of explodes over it.
And it is almost explosive.
I'm so excited. I'm not even that excited for the clothes, I'm just excited for that.
But I want to hear what Nicholas does, the guest kid, does next. Yeah, that's the thing
that's so exciting. But it feels like this big moment of change in all aspects of the industry
again.
At the moment. It's just so exciting. No, I think it's going to be a great season. But I think London's been amazing. I think Simone, that was just incredible, and I love what Jonathan Anderson did yesterday. So I'm kind of still in my yay London moment.
You are, aren't you?
I
it's
really
time
am.
for a Union Jack dress going on, isn't it?
Jerry Halliwell.
I think I agree. I mean, I haven't seen that many actual shows, but I think London seems like a really solid. There is so much diversity. It's not just about one or two people. I mean, there's like 10 designers or something at least. Some of who I've you know, who are doing superb work, and you know they're going to be players and have influence on fashion in the future. And London's never seemed quite that consolidated, I don't think, before. I mean, there's been like you know, when Giles Deacon first appeared and Christopher Kane, and now suddenly it's all part of a body, and that seems like, I don't remember it ever seeming like that before. Like, it's really good.
Because Kane, I think, is one that in the fashion books and fashion history books in 50 years will be a name to them.
So he's such a game changer in a way that I don't think people perhaps realise at the moment, just through staying and through, you know, people come to London for, obviously, for Burberry and things like that, but for Christopher Kane. And
he's huge, he's big, huge. And rightfully so.
And gives a lot back as well. Like, he was judging the St Martin's Pride, you know, he was there at the St Martin's show. There's such an element of, I think it's interesting what you just said there, but because there is that collaborative spirit in London, you know, there is that sense that everyone is kind of pushing each other on, and designers go to each other's shows and they're friends. And
remember how small we are. I think we take it for granted that Britain, Scotland,
no
Ireland, Wales, England, this tiny
so
little
small
place with this amazing
big shadow. It's great.
It's insane. It's brilliant.
We sound like a tourist advert.
There's nothing wrong with being a tourist advert. I think it's we should be proud of that.
No, we should be really proud.
And I think it's those four that make London so special.
And Simone's really proud, and that's why I think she's so great, is because she really fetishises that Irishness, and that makes her amazing.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful show. It shows that she's going to be big.
Well, that's a lovely note to round things up on. Should we give Simone and all of London, because we all love London, a big clap?
We all love London.